Standardized tests have a very long and storied history. Their importance and use has grown, as has the way they are administered. It took many years for standardized tests to develop into what is used today in schools across the country. It was the study of intelligence that led to the first form of standardized test. Intelligence was defined by Francis Gatlin in 1860 as mental abilities based on selected and inherited traits. The work of Gatlin helped Alfred Binet develop the first test that measured intelligence of children. Binet was a psychiatrist hired to find a way to identify defective children in order to justify keeping them out of regular classrooms. Binet's test was designed to measure verbal and language skills in order to determine the mental age of children. Binet's work was expanded by Louis Tierman, who created a test that included the idea of an intelligence quotient, or IQ. An intelligence quotient was determined by dividing a person's mental age by their chronological age. Binet's test was used to measure IQ, and out of this came modern-day standardized tests. The first mass testing of students in America came in the 1920s. Robert Yerkes, a member of the IQ testing movement, tested all U.S. Army recruits with the Army Alpha test. The Army Alpha test was further adapted by Carl Brigham, professor at Princeton. The test was used for admissions in 1926 on a few thousand applicants and was called the Scholastic Aptitude Test. The SAT would eventually become one of the most popular standardized tests after Harvard President James Bryant Kuhn agreed to use it as a way to award scholarships to non-boarding school students. In 1938, all member schools of the College Board agreed to administer the SAT to scholarship applicants, and in 1942, all pre-existing College Board admissions tests were abolished in favor of the SAT. In 1959, another standardized test was created to identify the most academically able students for admission in the nation's selective universities. The American College Testing Program, or ACT, was designed to help students make better decisions about which colleges to attend and which programs to study. The American educational system is filled with different types of standardized tests. Some are used to measure learning disabilities, while others are used to measure basic intelligence and understanding. The work of psychologists and professors like Francis Gatlin and Albert Binet will forever be linked to the standardized tests we still use today.
Currently, the ACT is the college entrance exam usually taken by juniors in the Midwest. According to ACT.org, the ACT's sole purpose is to help students achieve education. In high schools, the ACT results are used for academic advising and counseling. The ACT has much greater use in colleges, however. They use the ACT for admissions, course placement, academic advising, and scholarships and loans. According to ACT.org, the 2006 ACT scores have risen in the previous 2 years. The average national composite score rose from 20.9 to 21.1. However, math and science were the worst subjects. ACT.org says that only 42% of students scored a 22 or higher on math, and only 27% of students scored a 24 or better in science. This means that 42% of students have college-ready skills in math, and only 27% of students have college-ready skills in science. Overall, only 21% of students achieved college-ready scores in all 4 subjects. The PSAT is the practice test for the SATs. According to collegeboard.com, it focuses on critical reading, math, and writing. Its purpose is to let students know their strengths and weaknesses, to help prepare for the SAT, and to compete for scholarships. Students also have the option of letting their scores be released to colleges in order to receive information on colleges that are interested in certain students. The PSAT is optional, and it is usually taken by sophomores and juniors in high school in October. When comparing scores of juniors in high school from 2007 and 2006, scores varied slightly. Critical reading dropped 1 point, math dropped 0.3 of a point, and writing increased by 0.1 of a point. Sophomore students had similar results. Critical reading decreased by 0.8, math decreased by 0.4, and writing increased by 0.4 between 2006 and 2007.
Standardized tests will likely be around for a long time. With there being no current proposal for change in the works all that can be focused on is the current state of the situation. Since it's an idea that sparks change, all that can be focused on are the test makers, the lawmakers, and those who teach as well as administer the tests. When it comes to the test makers, they believe that students are not learning enough that prepares them for college. According to the ACT Annual Report for 2007, accessed on ACT.org, nearly 4 out of 5 ACT-tested high school graduates have not been prepared to exceed in one or more credit-bearing entry-level college courses. In an attempt to change the preparedness among high school graduates, ACT developed a new program that will help high school teachers see what the college standard actually is. Quality Core includes course objectives, course blueprints, model instructional units, formative assessment item pools, end-of-course examinations, and professional development for educators. Quality Core is just one example of how standardized test makers foresee the future directions of results. ACT.org also offers helpful content geared towards educators, researchers, and policymakers. To name a few, ACT.org provides policy reports, case studies, and information briefs that give a glimpse into what results students are producing and how these results can be improved. For lawmakers, we see current implication of standardized tests in the school system as a means of determining overall achievement in schools. Through the No Child Left Behind Act, schools are given standardized tests each year to measure the performance of the students and determine whether or not the school has met its academic requirements. A controversial debate surrounds the No Child Left Behind Act. Some see the benefits in trying to close the achievement gap, such as parents who like the idea of having more of a say in their child's education and be able to choose a different school if the one that their child attends needs improvement. On the other hand, others object to the No Child Left Behind Act for fear that teachers will simply teach to the test rather than have a variety of material being taught. Teachers must follow the law as well as school codes, which means administering tests as planned. Some teachers might feel cheated, however, due to the No Child Left Behind Act, and the fact that if too many of their students score low, the teacher will be at fault and could potentially lose their job. In general, the performance of teachers is being measured by the performance of the students. According to former teacher and current educational researcher Liz Hollingworth, many teachers find themselves judged by the test scores of their students that are affected by factors beyond their control. Many teachers argue that the students' academic history, school facilities and equipment, and socioeconomic class also determine scores. Whatever the situation, many teachers are collaborating with each other to determine how students can be prepared for standardized tests and receive a well-balanced curriculum as well. Standardized tests have been around for decades, and according to their history, they have only been gaining momentum. With fluctuating scores and a desire for stronger performance, standardized tests are currently in a state of reconstruction. The No Child Left Behind Act ensures that improvements must be made in schools' annual yearly performance, or they will be penalized. This being the case, test makers and educators are trying to determine how to improve national scoring. As it currently is, standardized tests are going to be used for a long time to come.